So I generally actually try to stay off social media over the weekend, but this weekend I could not avoid it because this massive controversy erupted online on Saturday. So President Trump gave a commencement speech at West Point, and I saw this reaction of like, oh my God, the president had a stroke and he's feeble and he's like, he's falling apart physically. I was like, Jesus, I gotta see what happened, right? So people pointed to two moments during this speech that, seemed to indicate to them that he was having some sort of massive health breakdown. The first one was he went to pick up a cup of water. Okay, here he is. You see, he lifts it up and then he decides to take the second hand. Okay, so that was the first one. Drinking water with two hands.
Got it. Okay.
Seemed like that big of a deal. But there was another moment, Saagar. This one really shows that there is some sort of health crisis that the American people must know about, which is how he walked down the ramp after giving the speech. So let's take a look at that. Okay, you see him. Here he goes, walking down the ramp. Okay, little gingerly, being careful, one step at a time. There we go. Gets down to the bottom though. Fine, no problem. And this was apparently the other thing that caused people, I literally saw people online like, the president had a stroke and he's hiding it from the public and he's having a health meltdown. The New York Times even wrote a story about this. That is how strong the reaction was. I mean, what is wrong with people? Yeah, he
it's
looks
unreal.
a little ginger. He's a 74-year-old man. And what is happening? Why are people lost their minds with this?
I was thinking I might be revenge for some of the Biden commentary, right? Like that's all I can really think is that this is revenge for, accurately pointing out, the many instances of Biden just like having verbal lapses in the middle of things or just going, clearly not having the same level of acuity, or at least public acuity, that he had as recently as 4 years ago, sometimes even 2 years ago. Some of the 2018 interviews that I've seen of him are dramatically different from where he is right now. So that's generally all we can really surmise. Trump did have a hilarious response to all of that. Let's put that up on the screen here. The ramp I descended after my West Point commencement speech was very long and steep. I had no handrail, and most importantly, it was very slippery. The last thing I was going to do is fall, for some reason in quotes, for the fake news to have fun with. Final 10 feet, I ran down to level ground. Momentum. So
Momentum.
I do think that I think the whole thing is hilarious. It's insane that it made it into the New York Times, especially. Do you remember the hand-wringing over the Hillary health stuff? Be like, oh my God, the conspiracy and all this. But this time, it's literally like they adopt Trump's norms themselves, and then they just try to go after him, and it just discredits them completely on the eyes of the public. I really do believe that this is both Clinton and Biden revenge, both from the media and from a lot of people on Twitter.
I think you're right about that. I mean, if I was to have some sort of smart analysis about this, there's not anything that intelligent to say about it. But I think you're right. I think the Hillary health questions, in the way that was used, and sometimes in really unfair ways, truly, where things were taken out of context, et cetera, there were legitimate questions as well. But I think they saw how that actually really was damaging. It actually really was an issue for her, and Trump was very effective at pushing that narrative. You could see at the beginning of this campaign, they were very much starting to try to do the same thing with Biden, again, with some pretty legitimate material to work with, but they clearly have an understanding of how those questions can be really damaging. I think the president is a little bit sensitive to it, which is why he tweeted this response.
Yes.
But, the level of meltdown that I saw online, and then when I went and watched the video, I was like, really? This is it?
Yeah.
This is the best you got?
This is.
I don't think this one's going to really stick.
I think this is Russiagate level conspiracy. I think a lot of people are just crazy. And the problem is that it gets fanned by the media. I mean, the very first time that I ever got to ask a question in the White House briefing room, people can go and look it up, is talking to Ronnie Jackson, who was Trump's physician. And and Sanjay Gupta, I think, was like right in front of me. And Sanjay Gupta, the next day, I see this guy on TV being like, "It's, the White House is lying. The president clearly has heart disease," like going off. And I was just like, oh my God. I mean, the erosion of media standards whenever it comes to reporting on this after decrying all this Hillary health stuff is really out of control. So I think it just shows where we are as a country right now.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching today. I will be back in the studio, fingers crossed, very soon.
Hopefully. All right, so tomorrow on Rising, we are going to have the D.C. Bureau Chief of The Intercept, Ryan Grimm, and the Daily Beast politics reporter, Hannah Trudeau. Do us a favor, like, share, subscribe to a video on Rising so you never miss a video. We will see you guys tomorrow.